Okay, this is chapter 17 from Best Christian Art, and these are paintings from Ireland. The first painting, and by the way, if you're following with the book, we're on page 461. So here is Thunderstorm and the Frightened Wagoner, and I like this painting. You see the horse is frightened, the wagoner is trying to figure out how's he going to get this horse to cross the bridge because of the lightning. It's beautiful. Now, Ireland doesn't have that much good art. And the reason, because Ireland's a poor country. Ireland was basically enslaved by the British for like 1,000 years. You know, and it still is. My father's from Ireland. So, you know, when you're a poor country, it's pretty expensive to have all the leisure time to sit around painting. You can take your sadness and frustration and put it into writing. And there's a lot of really good Irish writers. You know, a lot of the best playwrights have historically, in England, have been Irish guys, like Oscar Wilde most famously. So anyways, this is a nice painting. And right now, too, the British are trying to, it's not just the British, I would say it's big money, worldwide big money. They're trying to destroy Ireland. They've opened up the borders. They brought all these people in that are kind of hostile to the Irish. And then they're all telling the Irish to get rid of all their cattle. And I think what they're planning to do is repeat the potato famine. The potato famine of the 1840s destroyed the Irish population. They lost more than half their population. And it was deliberate. It wasn't by accident. You know, if you studied it, you can see that the Irish, you know, Trevelyan and the other ones, they did it on purpose. And I believe they're doing the same thing again right now to poor Ireland. All the Western Christian countries are being destroyed. And it's because big money wants to lower the population numbers. Okay, here's a beautiful painting. Booksellers on the streets of Dublin. Irish people like to read. You know, when I describe Irish people, I say there's two main categories. There's thinkers and drinkers. And luckily, my father was a thinker. And most of my father's family was thinkers. And I even know I've got, you know, an Irish family. My mother's from Puerto Rico, and I can tell you, my Puerto Rican family is a lot smarter. It's just full of, you know, doctors and all this other stuff. Versus my Irish family, not as bright. But the Irish, even the ones that aren't too bright, I even say some of my Irish cousins are stupid. They still like reading. So that's a good thing about the Irish. You know, reading doesn't give you good judgment, but it does give you good vocabulary. And I don't know, this is just a pleasant painting, kind of a typical thing you'd see in a poor Irish city. I love the Irish music. They're great at music. They're the best. Despite it being such a small country, they got an extraordinary amount of great music. And here's another sort of like legend of Ireland, you know, the blind musician here, Padraig O'Brien, the blind elbow pipe player. And I'll put some links to some Irish music below this painting. And you'll be amazed at how good it is. It's some of my favorite music. So Ireland's too poor. Oh, and I should have put that painting in here. I had it elsewhere when I had all the chivalry paintings all together. It was a painting like, I think the painter was like Burton. It was Saying Goodbye on the Turret Stairs. Okay, here's the eviction of an Irish family from their home in 1845 during the potato famine. The British, man, they brutalized the Irish. They deliberately starved them to death. And I tell you, I think that's what's coming maybe this winter or sometime soon for the poor Ireland. And probably for a lot of other Western Christian countries. Don't be surprised if they bring it to this place too. This painting is by Daniel MacDonald. And they would drive the poor Irish people out of their homes. And then they would often set the house on fire or destroy it because they didn't want them coming back. And they would take the land away from them and they would use it for cattle pastures. And here's all the old people starving. Their possessions are out in front of their house. They'd have the guards there, so, you know, it was brutal. I've read a whole bunch of books about the history of Ireland. It was brutal. There's no two ways about it. It was just brutal and awful. And it was a deliberate hatred of the British for the Irish. There was nothing they could do. A good book to read if you actually care about Irish history is Trinity by Leon Uris. And I know he's not Irish, but he captures the story of Ireland very nicely, you know, by showing how it passes from one family to another. Hibernia is Ireland appealing to Jesu Christu and the saints, Patrick and Bridget, to protect poor Ireland from England. Boy. Yeah, so there's the Celtic cross. I love the Celtic cross. There's the Irish harp. The Irish harp is a precious symbol of Ireland because, you know, Queen Elizabeth, like in the 1600s, she wanted to, you know, get rid of all sovereignty of Ireland. And the people often were educated about their history. You know, they were illiterate, a lot of them. by hearing the stories from the bards and from the singers, the musicians. So she had anybody playing Irish music, she would execute them. So for them to be able to play their music was a big thing of pride. So they put the harp on their flag. That's a big thing for Irish people, for Guinness. The Celtic cross is nice too, because it kind of connects Christianity to the Celtic people. You know, there before Christianity and Celtic Christianity and whatnot. The Irish wolfhound. Yeah, but if I had to say their biggest talents, it would be the Irish music. I think is their biggest talent as a people, and they're just a lot of fun. You know, like Oscar Wilde said, the Irish people are the best talkers. If you're around a bunch of Irish people, like I've been to Ireland back with the old family, they're very funny. They're very charming. They really like Americans. They call us the Yankees. You know, the Yanks. Oh, me cousin, the Yank. And so here they are having mass. And, you know, Christianity holds the people together. If you don't have a religion, the civilization falls apart. And I think that's partly what they've done. The elites that have taken over the country, they just open up the borders and they're trying to get a lot of people, as much people as they can, that are hostile to Christianity, because that's a way to more permanently destroy the country. They don't want to they don't even want to enslave them. They want to depopulate them. And so I believe that's why they got a lot of anti-Christian immigrants. And they're doing a whole bunch of other things, you know, like I said, making them get rid of their cattle. The nice thing about cattle, even though, yeah, I'm 100% vegan, is if you've got a cold winter and you got no food around, it's nice to have cattle, okay? That could be the difference between survival and starvation. So it's nice to have cattle when there's no other food available. And now you take a look at this next painting, and this will be the last painting of my series of paintings here in Ireland. For the Love of Ireland is Michael Collins, one of the great heroes of Ireland. And this paint's from 1922, John Lavery. And green is for the Catholics, orange is for the Protestants, white is for the faith and the unity of both. And what I tell you about Michael Collins, I think he kind of symbolizes Ireland in many ways. He was this brilliant, heroic guy, and he did everything he could to try to bring freedom back to the Irish, and he was successful in many ways. But then they started infighting. He felt you have to compromise a little bit with the British. He just didn't have the resources to, you know, fight the British and obtain complete freedom for Ireland. He had to leave, you know, Northern Ireland to the English and the Protestants. And, you know, the rest of Ireland, though, some of them wouldn't go along with him, and it created like an Irish Civil War, and he was bumped off in that. And it's real sad, and it was stupid, and it was unnecessary. They shouldn't have. And Ireland would have been better off with him leading the place than with the others who took over then. So anyways, there he is, the great Michael Collins, a great hero.